everyone, welcome back. This is Birgit Heffler, back to Something Reborn Thursday, where I come on every Thursday at 5 p.m. Eastern Time and turn something old, unwanted, and make it beautiful again. At least that's the idea. I then make them beautiful and sell them on my website or in my shop. Today I am going to start the last part. We've been doing a series of redoing a makeover on a secretary desk, and today hopefully we get finished. It's taking a little longer than I wanted, but I wanted to really take you through the beginning and the end. So for those that are just starting, that way you could see what it would be like to begin a piece, what it entails, and so forth. So this is, we've started from the beginning, from cleaning it, how I do that. If you missed the last videos, please do check them out. They are in my Facebook page, Something From Somewhere, or also on my YouTube channel. I would totally appreciate any likes and shares, subscribes, and support my small business. Anything helps. If you guys also want to share with your friends and think that they may be interested in watching these beginner videos, by all means, please share. So now today it's the final part, and I've taken a secretary's desk and we've already painted it, and today we're going to seal it. So I'm thinking to do it in a few different ways so you could see how waxes can be used. So I'm going to use clear wax, I'm going to use white wax, and in the inside I'm going to seal it with clear coat. We've taken on this particular piece and we did a transfer in the last video. So also if you missed that one, that was last Thursday's video, and we took our transfer and put it inside. I'm gonna move the camera back a little now so that you guys can see what that finished transfer looks like inside. And any of you that are just coming in, please let me know where you are. I always love to know where you're watching from. So if you guys see, this is the desk. Let me pull it back a little bit. I hope you can see there. Hi, how are you? Sergey, welcome. Thanks for being here. All right, so before we start though, let me tell you the products we're gonna use. So we're gonna use two wax brushes, a large one and a small one. The small ones are usually used for the colored waxes, white wax, dark wax, black wax. They're usually used for details, and I'm going to show you with this particular piece here how to white wax that small area. The large one is usually for clear wax. Obviously it takes upon more area, so you use the large one. This is white wax. I'm actually going to use mine, but this is the white wax by Country Chic. It's an awesome, great, non-toxic, biodegradable, and environmentally free wax. I totally love it. This is mine because I just have a little larger can, but it's the same here. This is what it looks like. We are also going to be using clear coat. This is a sealer and it dries clear. I totally recommend this. Most of my pieces receive the clear coat. It's a medium to high, I would say, sealer, where you would use it for mostly everything, especially areas that you're going to be using a lot. I totally recommend using a clear coat than a wax. A wax is more for those low traffic areas. So this I'm going to be using in the inside. Since it's going to be used probably a lot more because it's a little desk than the outside. In the outside, I'm going to do wax, and I'm going to show you how. Okay? So this is the beeswax that I'm actually going to use is by Sweet Pickens Milk Paint because I have it opened, but it's very much like the Country Chic paint. They're both very similar. This one in particular, I love to use because it smells really, really good. It's 100% natural beeswax, and I wish you guys could smell it because it's like really amazing to die for. I love it. All right, cool. And this was the transfer that we used by IOD, Iron Orchid Designs, and it's called Memoir. And I'll show you right now. I'm going to open this up so you can see what it looks like for those that weren't here the last time, or that we were here but I didn't get to finish. It was a little wet, the paint, so I had to wait. So I'll show you, I'll bring this closer so you guys can see how pretty it came out. So that also, I showed you how to put it on here, how to put a transfer on. All right, so I'm gonna move this back. I'm sorry that I keep moving you, but well, you guys can see the whole piece. The color I painted, in case you are wondering, it's called Dune Grass, also by Country Chic. It's like a greenish, mintish color. It's beautiful, very subtle, very soft, very elegant. It's called Dune Grass. Hi, Martha. How are you? Welcome. And the inside I use is called Crinoline, also by Country Chic. So all this is already in the other videos. So if you guys missed it, I don't want to waste any time, reviewing everything again. It's all there, but today now we're gonna seal it. So I am going to show you first how to do clear wax. One thing when you guys use colored waxes, is always best, it's recommended, not that you have to. I mean, at the end of the day, there's really no rule. Being an artist, creating is really, just feeling it out and experimenting. But sometimes the colored waxes can actually be very thick. So if you want to thin them out a little bit, using clear wax helps smooth out the colors. So I'm going to white wax this piece, clear wax, and then put some white wax on it. That way it smooths it out a bit. Sealing it, I would probably do 2 times, 2 coats. So you first would put a coat on all of your piece and wait overnight for it to absorb into the wood. And then with a dry cloth, you can buff it. And when you buff it, you can do it as shiny as you like. It's really buffing the piece. It's not going to be super shiny because the wax is not a very shiny type of finish. But if you do buff it, it does bring out a little bit of a sheen to it, if you like that, and it just makes the paint look really nice and smooth. Okay, so this is my beeswax by Sweet Pickens. If you guys are wondering about all these products, yes, I do sell them. They are on my website at somethingfromsomewhere.com, and they all have instructions. So if you have any questions, I have written down specifically in detail how you use them and so forth. So don't be afraid to experiment. So it's really just, a little goes a long way, just like anything. So I'll bring you closer so I think you can see from there. Yeah, back here. I'll sit on this side. I'll bring you a little more closer so you can see. So when you do wax, you're gonna see that the coloring is gonna deepen, and that's part of, waxing and sealing the paint. And it just becomes, deeper in the color, which really is very beautiful. It brings out the color even more. So I'm going with clear wax first, so that when I go with my white wax, I can spread it out a little better. All right, so for those of you that are just tuning in, I am in part 3 of the series of the Secretary Desk Makeover. This was gifted to me by a girlfriend, and we've been painting it together so I could show you how to do this. Well, actually, this so that you could do it yourself with any pieces maybe that you may have at home, and you could see from the beginning to end what it entails to paint a piece. So you guys can see how with the clear wax it becomes, you can see here a little bit deeper, the color. So one rule of thumb is very good, I like to share with you, is do circular motions when you put the clear wax. It helps the wood to absorb it, and also for you, it's like you have a better handle on your brush, and just you're better, to manipulate it. Grab the wax brushes or any of the brushes from the beginning, holding it this way, so it gives you more leverage. This wax is very soft, the Sweet Pickens, so there's really not a lot of pressure that you have to do, but you want to make sure that it's all even out. Don't go over it too many times, just like everything else with the paints. You want to do thinner coats and more of them than one thick coat that doesn't dry. It takes longer to dry. So thinner coats dry quicker and the product just works better and the finish looks nicer as well. All right, I'm gonna do the drawers so you guys can see. Over here, I put, as you guys can see, the hardware already. So nice and clean. I showed you also how to do that. In the other videos, took them off, how to wash them. We put them in vinegar and water. Actually, sorry, I'll take that back. The piece was cleaned with vinegar and water, but the hardware just in vinegar. And I left them overnight. So it naturally brought out its natural coloring, and it's really quite beautiful. You don't have to do much of any scrubbing or using any kind of toxic, chemicals and stuff. All right, so there is the white wax. We do this side as well. So how have you guys been? Martha, have you tried to do any painting yet? Do you have any questions? Maybe about any projects that you have done before? If you guys have any questions, please comment. If I don't get them to you right away, because obviously, sometimes painting and, doing a live can be challenging, but I will definitely answer any questions at the end of the live video. I'm going to go to the other side. So all I'm doing is putting on clear wax to my whole piece so that then I can do some highlighting with white wax. And what it does, it just really gives a piece depth. And you can experiment not just with white wax. There's all different colors, dark and black, and you put it in different areas. We'll do those as we keep going with the lives, but today I'm going to do the white wax. I think this piece is very sweet and light. Wax will look really pretty on it. You guys can see, I know I keep moving, but I want you guys to be able to see the whole piece. However, any of you ever used white wax? Let me know if you have. It's kind of like my go-to wax. I like the either very dark, like black wax, or white. But now that it's hitting, the summer coming along, we like to freshen out the look at home, light, summery colors. And I like to use more of like the deep colors and the dark waxes in the winter months. All right. Turn it around again. All right, here we go. You guys can see? Great. Hi, Oneida. Thanks for being here. All right, you guys. So, while that dries a little bit, you know what? Let's just finish it. So, that was the clear wax. Now I'm going to use the white wax by Country Chic. And I have mine here opened already. And we're going to do some white waxing in the whole piece. If you're just coming in, we started with the clear wax. The clear wax helps to smooth out the colored waxes. So I'm gonna put the white wax in the middle. Place it over here. You guys can see, let me bring you closer. Thank you, Oneida. I think you've been here in the other one, so we saw the change. Thanks for being here. All right, cool. Let me do something. Sorry, you guys. I'm trying to teach myself how to read the comments if I can't see them from my phone into my computer. So I'm kind of learning to do that. Nice. All right. Sorry, you guys. I'm trying to. So here we go. Okay, so I'm gonna do this over here with the white wax. So you pretty much just want to try to get it into all those little crevices of the detail. You put as much or as little as you want. I want to accentuate this area and make sure it's all in. Can you see? So then, with a clean rag, you're going to scrape it off a little bit and just leave as much or as little as you want. And that's what gives it that beautiful finish and depth into details of any pieces that you have that you want to add some, special finish. And the outside, you just kind of spread out. Remember we put the clear wax before? So that always helps to spread it out more. And, you can never do it wrong. If for any reason you put too much white and you don't like it, the clear wax serves as an eraser. You can always add a little bit of clear wax and take it off and start all over. Okay? All right, so I want to do a little bit like, you guys can see me like on the piece, random areas, maybe in the corners, and pull it through. See what I'm doing? So Country Chic has quite a few colors. White wax, which is what we're using. Antiquing wax, which is like a darker wax, brown. There's also black. There's gold. And of course the clear. All right. You see that? So now we take our cloth again and now we just blend it in. And what it does is, see if you guys could see in the grain, it goes through, in between the grain of the wood, and it's just really, really beautiful. It gives it like another dimension. And there's really nothing else you have to do after this. You just let it dry. If you want, wait 24 hours and then you can come back and buff it a little bit. But not necessary. And you can go crazy and even like do another kind of finish on this detail and maybe add a little bit of gold or silver. I think will look really pretty. You see it, guys? Just a little bit, and it makes such a big difference. All right, I'll pull out the drawer. I'm going to bring you down a little bit. you go. Sorry you guys, I keep moving you. I want you to be able to see it. Okay, so we're gonna do the same thing now on the drawer. You know, whatever areas you want to highlight. The corners are always a good place to start if you don't know where at the beginning until you get the hang of it. And then you just pull it through the middle. So you're giving a highlight. See what I did there? Now, you just rub off. It's all natural beeswax. So you can actually use this indoors and not worry about any toxins, chemicals, to be worried about having to open up any windows for ventilation or anything like that is not needed. Now you can also do the hardware if you wanted to, you guys. Doesn't have to, there's no like, no you can't do it. You can, totally. You want to accentuate it, whether it is a cream, whether it is a glaze. We're using wax, but you can also highlight it with wax. And even a darker wax, like an antiquing wax, and then you give it a little bit of that old vintage, old world charm look. All right. So I missed this spot here. So this week flew for me. How's been your guys' week? Did you do anything? Anything out of your ordinary? I moved my daughter to a new apartment. So if I've been a little bit incognito on my page, I apologize. This weekend was crazy. Well, this past weekend was crazy for me. It was last minute decision. Like in 3 days actually, she decided she wanted to move. And we started packing. She started packing after work, and I went this last weekend on Friday, Saturday. I moved her into her new apartment, unpacked everything, and came back to Palm City, to Stuart on Monday, and it's been just non-stop, non-stop. But it's super cool. She's super happy. She loves her new place. All right. Now let's do the top part. I'm going to do up here. So for those of you coming in, the first thing we did was clear wax the whole piece. The reason, because it helps to smooth out the colored waxes. They have a tendency of being quite thick and harder to spread. So the clear wax serves as a way of like just smoothing it out and helping with spreading the wax on. The colored waxes. And now I'm just adding the detail of the white wax. And really, you just put it wherever you feel like it. What it does, it just gives depth to any piece, like the details especially. And like in this piece, you could see it in the grain. It goes inside the little parts of the grain, and it gives it like another dimension, and it's really beautiful. It's not so just one color, which you could, but this is kind of like a vintage, more farmhousey style, you know, French country look, and I thought the white wax would look really beautiful. You guys can see the difference, huh? Nice. I love how it's turning out. This was a little piece given to me by my friend, and she was moving, and she decided to gift it to me, and I said, yeah, I love it, I love it. I'll take it. All right. I'm going to do the side now. difference. All right, can you guys see well? Do you need me to come in a little bit closer? Thank you, Sergey. Let's see if here you can see. All right. Is that better? So here we go, adding some of the white wax. I always like to start like in the corners. Not that you have to, you can start wherever you want. But I start in the corners and then I spread it in. All right. So I'm using a small wax brush for the colored waxes and a larger for the clear. The reason, because a larger takes up, like, you know, for bigger spaces. So since you're doing the whole piece in clear, a larger wax brush is better. And for the little details and smaller spaces, the smaller wax brush are great. These are all natural, also natural bristles. They have a really short handle, which is great for a woman's hand because you can actually hold it really nice. So, you know, these are all the tools of the trade. Important to have good tools. You're not gonna spend good money on good paint and have bad tools. It's just doesn't go together, you know what I mean? So you guys can see the difference when it doesn't have the wax and when it has it, how pretty it looks. So that is the idea. You can always come back and add more if you want more, and if you want to erase a part of it, let's say you don't like it, you can always use clear wax as an eraser. I know I mentioned that earlier for those that are just coming in. So for example, let me show you. So this is, you know, white wax, but let's say I wanted to make it a little bit lighter and not so white. You just put a little bit of the white wax, and then you take your cloth, and then you can take it off. You see what I mean? So that's how that works. So there's really no right and wrong. There's no mistakes. You can always paint over. Some people just don't paint because they think, oh, I'm not good enough. I can't do it. I don't know what I'm doing. What if I don't paint it right and I don't like it? You know what? What's the worst thing you can do? You repaint it. You repaint it. As simple as that. All right. So I like it with the white wax. And you know, sometimes like the imperfections are what make the piece very unique to you. It is not a cookie cutter, and that's why they're one of a kind, and they're, you know, hand painted. And that is the whole charm of it, and that's what makes it so much more beautiful than just commercial furniture. It has charm. And how much more beautiful than you did it, huh? That you painted it. All right, I'm not gonna get into the legs because I wanted to get into showing you how to use the clear coat, but I wanted you guys to see what the white wax does. And look at this over here. You guys can see closer how pretty that looks. We could even add a little bit more. Let's add a little bit more of the white here, so like it's more visible in the nooks and crannies. I'm just really dipping the tip, just a tip of the brush. You don't need that much. Okay. go. All right. You see how I'm pulling it out? See how that looks. A little bit more white effect over here in the middle. And if you guys can see, I also did a little bit of sanding. So there's a little bit of the wood, natural wood showing, because I did that in the other videos. I showed you how you could either use a sanding block, a light sanding block fine like a 220, or wet distress it, which means that you wet your damp cloth. And as soon as you paint it, this clay-based paint is really easy to work with. So you just take off some of the painting areas that you wanted to show the natural wood, and you don't even have to sand or get all messy. You can just use the wet cloth, lint-free cloth. All right, you guys. All right. So let me bring you back here again so you can see the top. And see how that looks over here. I don't know if you guys could see the grain showing over here too. It's very, very pretty, very dainty. I love how it's looking. All right, so let's do now what I wanted to show you. So you use the, the wax for areas that are not going to be too busy used. It's a mild type of sealer. Clear coat now is a little bit stronger. So I'm going to be using Country Chic Clear Coat. It dries clear, so you can put it in any colored surface. At first you kind of see kind of whitish, but eventually it clears. I usually do 2 to 3 coats. I think 2 is going to be enough on this piece. And I use these awesome applicators. These are painting sponges, also by Country Chic. Before these, I used to use brushes, but now that I've discovered these, I'm in love. It's so easy to apply. You can actually do paint. They're great for spindles and chairs. Absolutely a discovery and a half. I did a video on that as well, on how to use these and how to really paint much quicker, faster, more efficient, and easy spindles on chairs, which all of us that have ever done that, you know that it is quite a job to do. So this really was super effective. And they're great for applying sealers as well. So I'm going to be using this painting sponge, and I'm going to put it in a different container so that I can dip it in, and I'm going to use the clear coat to clear coat the inside of the piece. Also serves as like a decoupage. So for the transfer, for example, I laid it down, it's already on the piece, but I want to go over it and seal it just in case. And what this does is, it of course seals the transfer so that it doesn't pop up. Not that it should otherwise, but since I'm going to be sealing it, now it's really going to be staying. But don't take the sealer for granted. It has to be a very water-based and non-toxic. It can't have chemicals, because if not, you'll ruin the transfer. And that's the beauty about these sealers that I use. They're all natural and biodegradable, so they have really no chemicals that are going to ruin the piece of furniture or the transfer. So you can't just use any sealer. You want to make sure that it's natural and it doesn't have any chemicals or toxins that can ruin the transfer. Okay, so I like to always pour some on a different container so I don't contaminate the paints as well as the top coats. I have mine in this little bottle, but they usually come like this. It's just easier since I work all the time and I'm painting, so I just pour it in a bottle and I only pour as much as I need. Okay? So now I just take my painting sponge and I just go over it. So what you want to do, now you push you back up again a little bit, is do long, big strokes. And again, rule of thumb, better that you do thin coats than try to put thick coats. And it will take longer to dry than if you do thin coats, and the finish looks much better, cleaner, neater, more professional when you do thin coats. All right. It absorbs pretty quickly. I would also wait like overnight to do a second coat. That way, you know, you're sure to, if you miss any spots, that you can go over it. You can see better? Great, thank you. Okay, awesome. Thank you for letting me know. So you can't really see, but you know, it's clear again, and I am, you know, just sealing the inside of the secretary desk. Long strokes. Making sure you get all the little areas. This sealer has absolutely no odor. So for any of you guys that may be allergic to different types of smells, it's really quite awesome to work with because you're not smelling any stuff, any chemicals. They're all water-based, so they're also very easy to clean. If you have any on your clothes or something may fall on the floor, it's always easy to take it out. So do you guys like this part this way, that I left it with the brown? I thought it made it look cute. There's a nice contrast. All right. Do this part here. So I'm thinking for next time we do some molds, and I teach you guys how to use molds and how you can add them to also pieces of furniture or create beautiful frames if you have some and you want to give it a little extra touch. I think the molds would be great. You can create so many beautiful things with molds. Or stamps. I have tons of stamps. I'm learning how to use them with clothes, to put them on t-shirts or your pants if you want to add some detail. The stamps are awesome. These are up here, like I'll show you. Those are the stamps, and the ones over here, those are the molds. They come in all different shapes, and they're so much fun to make, and they look so gorgeous on furniture or anything really. And then the stamps as well. So I'm actually waiting for a shipment. I'm going to be getting a few more ink that is used for material, for fabric, where you can stamp them on clothes and then you flat iron them and they stay on. Really cool. But we'll get to that. And for you guys, any of you that, if by any chance have gone to my website and you saw some of the paints not available in Country Chic, I just placed a huge order. It should be coming hopefully not too long, but at least a week. They've been behind in delivery, you know, through this whole COVID situation. So they've been backed up, but now they're catching up. And in case you wanted a particular color and it wasn't available, I ordered everything. So I'm gonna have all the paints, colors, brushes, all in stock. Okay, so if you have any questions about that, or you doubt, or you want to find out, let me know. You can always email me at info@somethingfromsomewhere.com, or periodically just check the website, because as soon as it comes in, I'm going to start uploading it, and that is somethingfromsomewhere.com. All right, cool. So I also ship, in case you guys weren't aware. I do ship, and I also do store pickup. So if you're locally here, I'm in Palm City, Florida, by all means, you can always just call me and schedule when you want to pick it up. I'll have it ready for you, and you can just come pick it up. Okay? All right, so I'm waiting for this part to dry. But that was pretty much it. That was the first coat of clear coat. And this is the piece already with clear wax and white wax. So that's that. You guys have any questions? Anything you want to add? Any comments? So I'm going to just finish up this part. That I haven't done. We've already added clear wax, and now we're going to do white wax. And if you are wondering why we did clear wax first, I explained earlier that the clear wax helps the colored waxes to smooth easier, because sometimes they're quite thick. You don't have to. I do. I prefer it. I just find it to help me smooth it out a little bit better. So now I'm just going over the clear wax. And if you guys can see, what happens is it goes inside the grooves of the grain or any detail, and this is what gives depth to any pieces of furniture after you paint them with one color and you want to give it some extra oomph. I recommend trying out all the different types of waxes to see which one's your favorite. I mentioned earlier white wax is my go-to, and also a dark wax, but usually I do more of a dark wax more in the winter for that deeper, you know, more up northern look. But really it all depends on the piece of furniture. Hi Ada, how are you? You know, some pieces they just speak to me. So some pieces just have this older kind of wiser look, and then I go with that darker wax. And when they're like light and dainty, I have a tendency of going with a lighter wax, like white wax. All right, so we put it on, and now with a dry lint-free cloth, I just kind of take some of the excess out. And you take as much or as little as you want. There's no right and wrong. This is when you create your style, your look. Can you guys see the grain, how it really made a difference? Over here. From one color, and then when you do the wax, it just goes through the wood grain, and it just gives it like this really subtle, beautiful. You can see the shape of the wood. Probably, I don't know if you can see it in the video, but up close is really, really pretty. Okay. So we are done with this little guy. I'll finish up the legs the same way that I showed you here. We have painted this little guy in a 3-part series to show you from beginning to end what it entails to paint a piece of furniture. And if you guys missed any of those videos, please go back, check them out. They're in my Facebook page or on YouTube. That's Something From Somewhere. And today we are just finishing it up by just sealing it. I showed you how to clear wax, white wax, and how to do clear coating inside in this particular area to also help the transfer stick better, because it serves like a decoupage. All the products that I use today, I buy Country Chic. Paint, I love them. They're really all natural, and I know I keep mentioning that, but it's important to me, and I hope for you guys that you are in your homes, that you do become aware of all this chemical stuff that is sold, and if this is important to you, as it is to me, that you can totally be safe with these paints and painting indoors. And they're beautiful, and the finish is beautiful. So again, if you have any questions, I will be more than happy to answer them at the end of the video. And if you want to check out the website and all the products that I used today, you can go to somethingfromsomewhere.com. And that's it, I guess, for today, you guys. To remove the excess, Ada, well, you should go in one direction. Depends. I showed you two different techniques. I did wax and clear coat. So the wax, you kind of want to go in a circular motion because it's natural beeswax, so you want the wood to absorb that beeswax. And then you wait 24 hours, and the next day you come back and you kind of just buff it with a dry lint free cloth, and that's that. When you use the clear coat, and I showed you with this painting sponge, you do want to go to one side, long strokes in the same direction of the grain of the wood. And you want to let it dry, thin coat, and then do a second coat. You can probably do another coat after 30 minutes because it dries pretty quickly if you do it thin. I usually do 2 coats depending on the piece, but 2 coats is usually most, plenty. If it's going to be used a lot, like a dining room table, let's say, I would probably do 3 coats of clear coat. I wouldn't do wax. Okay, so wax, remember guys, wax is a mild sealer, but it's mostly for areas or pieces, that are not going to be highly trafficky pieces. That's why I wanted to show you with this. The outside is really not going to be used too much, so I did wax. And it looks beautiful and natural, and it's a beautiful matte, a little bit of sheen depending on how much you buff it. The clear coat is a little bit, I would say a little bit shinier, but it's not so shiny either. It's a little bit shinier, more like satin, and it dries pretty quickly, and it's more of a stronger than wax sealer, that's for sure. But there's still even a tougher one. So we have what is called the tough coat also sealer, and that's for really areas that are going to be tempered with a lot, moved around a lot, touched a lot, maybe even used for outside, so it has a water sealer to it. But mostly clear coat will be more than necessary. It's plenty. So to remove any excess, there's no excess to remove. On the wax, you would. So if you're asking Ada about the outside of the piece, when I was white waxing, you do put the white wax on, and then with a lint-free cloth, you kind of go over it to take any excess. And it's almost like you're painting with the cloth as well, because you're kind of moving the wax around to allow it to help it to go into the grooves. But the clear coat, there's no excess. You just really dip into the clear coat, and bloop, you just spread it. Let me do one more time before leaving you guys. So this is pretty dry already. I think I've been talking enough that it's dry now. So pour it in a separate container so you don't contaminate your coats, and then again, so just dip. Now you can use this, obviously these are the ones that I carry and I love them, that's why I use them all the time. But you've probably seen these at Home Depot and any of these areas, Lowe's. It's just they're quite cheap, and it's just a little spongy brush. It works the same as this, just it has a little handle, and you just dip it in and you do long strokes, and you just paint in long strokes. That's it. They're great because after you use them, you really can just throw them out and you don't have to wash them. This is just a little bit more fancier and easier to grip, and I have them because I paint with them as well. So they're great for chair spindles, like I mentioned earlier. And I do quite a few chairs, so this helps me a lot. I hope I answered your question, Ada. So look, this is what I'm doing right now. So you wanna just go over from beginning to end in long strokes. I'm doing a second coat now. I am going over the transfer, remember. This serves as a decoupage, almost like a decoupage, Mod Podge, however you wanna call it, and helps to adhere the transfer even more so it doesn't pull off. So yeah, long strokes. Get a little more. It absorbs really nicely into the wood. It's really easy to work with. It has no odor. It's water-based. It dries clear. It's child safe. It's really safe. All right. I'll just let that dry. That was 2 coats there, as you can see. All right, guys. I think that is it for today. So, for those of you, let me pull this up again so I can see you. Thanks for being here. Hi, Anthony. You are, Ada. You're starting a desk. Awesome. Good luck. Look, if you have any questions, let me know. All right. And if you need any items or have any questions, I don't know what products you're using. There's so many in the market. I know mine really well, but if you have any questions, still, if I'm able to help you, by all means. All right, you guys. So we are done with this little guy. And for those of you who were here, hey, Christopher. We started this little desk. It's been a 3-series segments to show you from beginning to end. If you've missed any of those videos, by all means, please go check it out. I wanted to show you, after showing you different techniques, how to start from the beginning to end. So from the cleaning it, to preparing it, to painting it, to distressing it, to sealing it using white wax, clear wax, and including putting on a transfer, as you guys can see here, how that worked, and then using clear coat to seal it as well. So I think I covered quite a few different areas, and I hope that helps you to, and I have inspired you to create something from somewhere and make it beautiful. So thanks again for being here with me, and until next time, that will be next Thursday. I'm on every Thursday at 5 p.m. I call it Something Reborn Thursday. I don't know what that something is until the week begins, and then I come up with some ideas. But if you guys have something in particular that you want to learn or know, please, by all means, send me a message either in the comments below or at my website. Email is info@somethingfromsomewhere.com. Also, all the paints, I wanted to just make that quick announcement. I've ordered a bunch of new paints, so they should be coming in the next week or two. They were a little bit behind, so if any of you went on my website and saw a lot of the stuff was sold out, was because it was sold out, but they're now catching up with deliveries. So if you have anything that you're looking for and you don't see it, it will be there because I ordered everything. So you guys, thank you again for being here, and have a wonderful rest of your week, and see you next Thursday at 5 p.m. Have a wonderful night. Bye-bye.